Hello and welcome back, everybody. Bloodless Knight here with another video to show you for World of Warships. Here playing the Tier 9 Premium that used to be a free experience ship, the battleship Musashi. Now already you can tell what's wrong with this match, which is one thing we're going to get right into and talk quite a bit in this video, as it is one of my main concerns on why people are leaving and not sticking in this game much longer. It's a well-known fact. People are leaving the game left and right, and it's still deteriorating to this day. So already, Tier 9 Musashi, what's unique about the Musashi and why it's favorite and a lot of people want it? Well, of course, Musashi is the sister ship of the battleship Yamato. Those are the two only Yamato class that were made. The third one was converted into an aircraft carrier. And Musashi, at the time when it was first released into the game, was released as a free experience ship, replacing the battleship Missouri. For 1 million free experience, and then just pay 1 credit and it's yours. A nice little thing that warships did for a while ago. Save up 1 million free experience, get yourself a Tier 9 premium ship, and 1 credit, it's yours. That was a nice thing. It's like, yeah, of course it made people save their free experience and not spend it on going up to the line, when experience back then was a lot more harder to acquire, unless you paid a whole bunch to get the special signals that was in the game back in the day, such as the Weaver flag to give you 50% increase in credits. Well, I'm sure, like I said, if you noticed what's wrong, that's a Satsuma over there. It is modeled after the Yamato, but that's not the actual design of what the Satsuma is supposed to be. Satsuma, as to what even Warships says don't call it that, well, it's a Tier 11. Plain and simple. They say it's a super ship. It's a Tier 11. There's so many in there right now at the very end after the Tier 10, and the only way to get it is you have to get the Tier 10. Now, you don't have to research it, but you do have to pay quite a large amount to get it. At least 3 Tier 10s to get the super ships. Now, why am I going off about talking about this Tier 11 that's on the other side? Well, as you saw at the beginning, there's the Satsuma and the Humphreys. We have a Dalarna and a Hanover. This is a Tier 11 match. Excuse me, super ship match. And what's one thing that's wrong here? If you notice what's wrong in the beginning, especially now, well, there goes Summers. I am the only Tier 9, and the Minnesota's the only Tier 9. And then there's 2 super ships on either side. That's 3 ships out of 12. All other 9 are Tier 10s. And that's the big thing, as I try and get rid of the Lashun here, because Lashun's such a... Yeah, that's a pseudo Tier 11, by the way. Nice, I probably would have done more if I did HE, but that's not bad for an incapacitation, taking out 1 of his 2 turrets. But this is the bad thing about this game, why a lot of people... It's one of the main reasons a lot of people are not sticking to it. It's the matchmaking. This type of matchmaking needs to stop. And I don't know why they haven't decided to do anything to address it, done anything to fix it, none of that. I'm not the only one who goes through this. I mean, after all, the Minnesota's over there going through the same thing. Oh, and there goes our Dalarna. So, already looking really good, and of course he peed himself from that special camo. So it's already not looking too good, and with this, it's like... I noticed Lashun was crashing through the Schlieffen, and I tried to get them, but I don't succeed here. Instead, I hit the Schlieffen for a good shot, which is great. But even then, this felt a little hopeless, knowing that I just lost 2 ships, one of them being the super ship, instantly out of nowhere. Lashun gets away, Petro's still over there, because that's a ship that still hasn't been nerfed. There's the gearing, already taking out the Sommers. Satsuma's now approaching, and I am the only Tier 9. What am I supposed to do? Even though people would just go, oh, you're not just a Tier 9, you're the Yamato sister ship. True. I have the same caliber guns, 460 millimeters, that Yamato has. They are the biggest guns in existence. That's not. to every put on a battleship. So it's like, okay, I got 460 millimeters. It should be the same damage, the same potential as the tier 10 Yamato. It's actually not. This is a tier 9. Now, well, why is that you say it's not the same thing? Well, one, for instance, the health is different, the Sigma is different, and believe it or not, the armor, even though the armor is the same loadout, there's certain things. Managed to get Lashun there with my back turrets, and here comes Schlieffen. Hello. I don't get much, but I finish him off too for a double strike. But this is a tier 9. It's got stats that are slightly nerfed than what the Yamato has, just to fit it as a tier 9. So you can't just go and say, well, you're a Musashi, you're basically Yamato at tier 9, you can just wreck everything. No, not entirely. Not at all. Especially with those who have the same kind of RNG that myself and my clanmates have, where RNG decides to stop working for us because our win rate is so high. That's one of the main reasons why they do that. But again, this is just not right, and this is unfair that, again, here I am in a tier 9, the only tier 9 in a tier 11 match. And what was really bad, this was the sixth match of this night. So anyone wants to know, I was streaming this live. You can go find me on my Twitch channel. Same name. I was streaming this live. I completely missed the Minotauro. I don't know how he dodged that. I swore I had him. And this was the 6th match of the night. And of the 6 I have done, only 2 was not like this, where I was the only low tier. Only 2. Those 2 being my tier 6 match, where I was mid-tier. I still had to face a bunch of tier 7s, but there was tier 5s in there. And it wasn't there was just 1 tier 5, there was at least 4. So I'm like, hey, there goes the Minotauro. Excuse me, Minotaur. Minotaur is also Unworld of Tanks, but known as the Minotauro because that's Italian. But yeah, to the tier 6 match, which I was in my Molotov, I looked at it and went, that's neat. That's exactly what the matchmaking's supposed to be. Not just 1 tier 5 against a bunch of 6 and 7s, or in this case, 1 tier 9 facing tier 11s and 10s. And the only tier 9 I have to face, by the way, as you notice, he's not here on this side. Look to your left. He's all the way over there on the other side of the map. I'm supposed to be facing the Minnesota. Minnesota's supposed to be facing me. That's the part of us being paired against each other. We're supposed to face each other. Nope. We are only facing the super ships, the tier 10s, and tier 10s that need to be nerfed like the Petro here. It's not fair. They have, a lot of them usually has bigger guns. Again, people are gonna go and type in the comments, but you're a Musashi. You have tier 10 guns. Delaware has tier 10 guns and far worse accuracy than Louisiana. Iowa has the same guns as the Montana, yet has less accuracy than the Montana. So does the North Carolina. They're all 406s. The Minnesota has the same guns as the Vermont, but less accuracy. See what I mean? I have the same guns as Yamato, but I have less accuracy. You can't just go and say, but you have the exact same guns. There are different stats that play into a factor that affects your ship. Which, thankfully, here goes Satsuma. Yay! Made a mistake in running to those torps. And there's Petro that it will not let me hit at all. Not only because he's actively watching and dodging, but also, even if I hit the Petro, you can't Citadel Petro. Why they won't nerf it, I still don't know. We did nerf it. No, you didn't. After all, it's firing, what, 223s and still doing more damage than ships with 305s. So yeah, this type of matchup is what's causing players to just not stay in the game and leave. You get to the tier 5, and this is another thing that's a sign of why this game is actually hurting a lot. You get to tier 5, you're facing bots now. That's not how it was when I started this game 6-7 years ago. When I started playing this game, I didn't even fight bots at tier 4. You could actually get into a tier 4 match, no problem. No problem. You didn't wait that long. People were in tier 4s. There was all players. Several years after that, I started seeing, well, there's bots at tier 4 because then they made tier 4 a protected tier, which was a good idea for new players to get in. to where they have a chance of at least being able to play the game without having to go against someone like me who just knows how to play it and just wrecks everything. So I'm like, that's good. That's a bonus. That's a plus on me. So, but it's just I can't play my tier 4s now. So it's like, okay, I can't even play anything lower than that because of the protected tiers. But now here I'm at 5, which is not a protected tier, meaning new players get to tier 5. You're facing veteran players like myself. But even then, it still takes kind of a long time to get into tier 5 matches, and unless you're facing 6s and 7s where that's only players, you're facing nothing but bots. When you're high tier as a 5, you're facing bots. That's how much of the player base is left. And it's very disconcerting about that. Torpedoes coming in. These are from the Humphreys, because the Humphreys is still alive, as well as the Vampire 2. Minnesota there, Petra there, Schlieffen there. It's already still not looking good. They're ahead of us by a lot because they had the caps for the longest time. And the Minnesota's still alive, and I'm still alive, which is still surprising that the 2 tier 9s are still alive. Considering that this matchup was totally rigged against us to have us just be bait for these tier 10s and tier 11 players. And this was, again, this was the 6th match of the night. And this was the 4th time that I had it like this. Like I said, the tier 6 was, I was mid-tier, and the other one, I was tier 7, mid-tier, but I lost that one. That was with the Nelson. When I got into the 2nd tier 7 match with the California, I was the only tier 7 against 9s. Only tier 7 against 9s. I was like, you're joking. When I did my tier 5, I was the only tier 5 against 7s. I got into my tier 8, and I was the only tier 8 against 10s. It was just, and I was in the Alabama. It was getting ridiculous. I couldn't do anything in the Alabama match because of that. That's another thing. Like, at me, I'm lucky I have the Musashi was able to actually reach across the map. As you can see how my firing range is huge. I have the entire map. Alabama has an extremely long fire range too, but I couldn't do anything at that distance, especially with every single ship having better Sigma, better accuracy, and some of them even better guns than the Alabama. And I have far less HP and armor than all of them. It was just, it's not right. The game should not be set up that way. Sadly, we lost our Venezia, who would have been our one chance to take out these last 2 remaining DDs. And again, I'm up 3 kills already as the tier 9, so it's not like the end of the world, but it is very annoying and very disheartening. Which, again, I will now favor you guys again. Yes, I'm in a Musashi, which does help. But not when there's 2 destroyers left, the Vampire 2 and the Humphreys, who's in the smoke just shooting, trying to shoot us down, and the Vampire shooting torps at us. And here I thought we were going to do good, because here's the Kerr first at near full health. He got hit, and... yeah. Well, now it's definitely not looking good. 3 to 5. We just lost the Kerr first. Petro, who still needs to be nerfed, is right here in front of me. And I went, how am I going to do this? They fired the torps. I need to get in position to not have the Petro hit my weak spots, which is the cheeks right here at the turrets, which, by the way, the Petro can do because it's biased. Go for the shot in Minnesota. I hit hard, but I did not get a Citadel. And look at that, 18,000? What was that from? The Minnesota? Nah, Petro. Petro does things that it's not supposed to do. And then here's another thing that's bad. Vampire 2 puts smoke up, and who's in the smoke? The Schlieffen. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This isn't good. And he's just gonna sit and smoke, fire nothing but secondaries. That was the idea, and I just went, oh no, you're not doing that. I aimed at the Schlieffen. Schlieffen gone. I'm now triple fired. I'm not doing too good. I'm like, all right, we're going for it. There's the 4th fire. We're going for it. I'm in it now. Can't do anything. Secondaries firing on the Petro. I'm like, we're going for it now. I have no choice. And I figure, why not try and get that or finish off the Petro, because the Petro just needs to be nerfed. So I keep firing Petro. There he goes. I hit him. Nothing. Gonna die, and oh, I set the Petra on fire with the last shot of my secondaries. Now it's 2-on-4, Zhao and Tromp. Tromp's not doing too well. Zhao's wondering what to do, and what's this? That fire I had set on the Petra, he had already DCP'd, and it killed him. Kraken unleashed, double strike with only a flesh wound in the Musashi. Now, I was not able to do over 100,000 damage because it's a Musashi against tier 11s. And a Petra. I would have loved to have hit that Minnesota harder, because then I was worried at this point going, okay, how's this going to play out? They're still ahead, and we have no choice. And Zhao pops out, and there's Minnesota, and I just went, well, I'm surprised I did all this, but this is going to be a loss, because there's Minnesota, and it's the Zhao. Oh, Minnesota misses. Odd. Minnesota's a really good ship to not miss that way. Oh, he hits him there, but not a Citadel. Now he's in secondary range. The Humphreys is hitting the Zhao. Zhao has to make a play here, and he's just now starting to engage the Minnesota. Now, contrary to everyone's beliefs, yes, Zhao has problems. Zhao got power crept like crazy. However, Zhao is not weak. Zhao is not weak. There's just whatever the Zhao can do, other ships can do it better. That is the situation with the Zhao. He angles perfectly. Minnesota fires again, does nothing. Shoots again. Minnesota is now on triple fire. He's suffering the same way I suffered, which is what apparently we are supposed to have done earlier in this match because we are the only tier 9s. Minnesota's just hurting, begging for the pain to stop. Unnecessary to fire torpedoes. He's tripled fire. Just shoot him. And unfortunately, he decides to do that. There's the Humphreys popping out accidentally. Zhao gets the Minnesota and gets a double strike on the Humphreys. Wow. So just like that, they would drop down to 820 points now instead of winning. And the Tromps decided to catch cap piece point C. Excuse me, I am still a little tired. So I just went, okay, what do we do? Figured I was going to tell Zhao, why not just cap it and let the Vampire be on his own? Vampire's going to stay back thinking he's going to win in time because of the points, because we're now passing 700. Going to capture the third one, but we need to have him stop capturing points. Zhao thought the same thing, turns around and goes captures point D. So yeah, a lot of excitement there at the very end, despite the first one just me complaining about, because this type of matchmaking here needs to stop. It should not be allowed to have one low tier against nothing but high tiers. Zhao thankfully turned in time to dodge these torps. Unfortunate. Still in a good position. He's going to go and capture point. There's Vampire. Vampire takes a few shots. And when he found out he's spotted, he quickly runs away. I would have to agree with Starlo. It was a great game, but it still was an unnecessarily stupid game for myself in the Minnesota that we were just going, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Why are we here? And as it turns out, what was really dumb is that I ended up with Kraken and the only low tier on my scene. Kraken. But I did end up finishing off the ships that most of mine didn't do, so that's how I got it. I just finished them off. Especially with the lucky fire at the very end on the Petra, which got him killed. If I didn't get that fire, they would have won, because Petra would have been in smoke, recovered, and take out Zhao. And then later Tromp with his radar. So as I said, here's Zhao. He's capturing the last point. Tromp got C. Tromp's going to run away, because if any of them die, he's going to get ahead in points, and it's 1 minute left. So yeah, that's what I said. I said he has no choice but to rush you now, because we're going to be ahead of points. We have all the caps. There he is capturing C to try and do it, but with the Zhao, once he captures point D, we're going to get so many points way ahead of him. He's not going to catch up. And just like that, that's how the rest of the match is. It's just not... It's not right. Because another thing, too, I did several more matches after this in my stream, and this wasn't the last time. Another matchup happened where I was low tier again as tier 5. And then I had the dumbest matches in tier 6 2 of them, I was the only low tier. Lost both times. And then the third one, I was a tier 6, Dunkirk. And there was at least 4 of us tier 6 in 12v12. Okay. 4 tier 6s. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Is this exactly how it is? Yeah. There's one problem. We're facing 8s. There's not a single tier 7 in the game. 4 tier 6s have to face nothing but 8s. There's no middle ground. And that's what matchmaking does. And it's absurd, Warships. It's very absurd. You need to fix it. I don't know why you're not copying other methods like tanks. Tanks has set rooms and set matches to where if you're facing tier 10s, there's at least like 3 tier 10s or 2 or sometimes even 4 or 5. If it's 5, then it's 10 tier 9s after that. But it's always a balance to where there's the high tier, there's the fewest amount of high tier, and the most that are in here is the most amount of low tier. Warships has it the opposite. Few amount of low tiers, the most amount of high tiers. You need to fix this, Warships. This is one of the reasons why people are not sticking to your game. Because when you're trying to grow through the lines and you're at tier 7 and you're facing nothing but 9s, or you're at tier 8 and you're facing nothing but 10s and you're the only low tier, meaning you have no one to face. We had no one to face. The 2 of us here, no one to face. And I ended up getting an insane match with the Musashi despite not doing 100,000 damage. But this was something I was just like not happy in this whole match at all. I was not. And I'm surprised that thankfully the Zhao and the Tromp turned it around at the very end after I pushed forward and got that lucky fire and turned it around. So thank you, Zhao, and thank you, Tromp, for capturing the base and winning this match, because this was just a ridiculous match that should never have happened, despite the fact it was the 4th time that happened that night, and then it happened another 4 times. 1.3 million credits. This is a premium ship, and I had the blue economic bonus on it, so 1.3 million, 12,500 experience, 7,400 free experience, double strike, Kraken Unleashed, just a flesh wound. Only 78,000 damage, 30 hits, but did finish off a bunch of ships such as the Lushun and Schlieffen to give me the double strike, and getting that last fire on the Petro to get him destroyed at the very end to get the Kraken Unleashed. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Does Warships really need to address this pronto? They should have addressed this years ago. Does Warships need to address this and stop this garbage of a matchmaking system they have? If you're playing tier 10s and you have to wait a little longer just to balance that out, or you face nothing but tier 10s, well, that's on you. You rush to tier 10s and you want to play tier 10s, you face tier 10s. That's how it should be. But let me know, should this stop? That way you're not the only low tier against high tiers? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, on the detail reports, yeah, not much there. I did not get a Citadel in the Minnesota, who's the one ship I was supposed to face. And finished the Lushun, finished the Schlieffen, finished the Minotaur with the Citadel, finished the Schlieffen, and finished the Petra with the fire. It's just finishing everything because, once again, one more time, tier 9 against 10s. So thank you all so much for watching this. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you hate it. Hit that subscribe button for more videos like this, because my upload schedule has now been way out of whack and out of tune, especially with what's been going on in personal life. So let me know. Just hit that subscribe button for when you see more of this, and let me know what other videos you would like to see, and if you want me to do more videos of addressing problems with warships on what they need to do. Unfortunately, if I do that, I'm not going to do the CVs and subs. That's just a given. That's the #1 problem they still need to fix. But this is definitely up there with them that they need to address. And then also put down in the comments what else do they need to address in this game to fix this. So that way player base can return so we're not facing bots at tier 5s. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe, and I hope to see you next time.